in Armenia, we organized more than 80, about 100 lectures outside StarMus venue. So those 100 lectures took place at different universities, different schools. We took a complete country with all Nobel laureates, astronauts lecturing everywhere in the country, not only in the same venue. So this was a part of a StarMus City program or a science camp, what we call, for 4 days. This is a completely educational program, plus entertainment, because we also had local bands and also bands, artists invited from Europe to join the science camp. So it's really very much entertaining event and with a strong educational component, right? So this is the power of StarMus that can bring more than 100,000 people. And I would say Jean-Michel Jarre would definitely have 5 PhDs in electronics, in AI, in all technologies, that's for sure. If he has time to write a thesis, he will get 5 PhDs done for sure. Now, finally, I want to introduce, and we are super happy and honored to have Jean-Michel Jarre as a headliner. I'm sure you know, everyone knows Jean-Michel Jarre. When you hear about Jean-Michel Jarre, you think, oxygen, of course, and that's our generation. We grew up with oxygen, and that was a very big thing. But I want to talk about Jean-Michel Jarre not only as a musician, as a founder, as a legend of electronic music, but also he did probably the greatest outdoor shows on this planet. The biggest outdoor shows has been done by Jean-Michel Jarre with so many creative formula, with so many, and honestly, I have to tell you, I know music world, I know music business, I've been doing music myself and so on. I don't know any living person on this planet who has as much creative power as Mr. Jean-Michel Jarre. I have to be very honest with you. I know very good musicians, a lot of creative musicians, people who perform, excellent songwriters, you know, the music world, you know, but when it comes to finding some creative solutions in music and doing something hidden, maybe with people I will understand in 5 years, in 10 years, I think it's impossible to beat, to go ahead of Jean-Michel Jarre. His last albums, Oxymore, etc., and all his experiments with VR, with this, with that, just take my breath away. Every time I follow him, I said, this is impossible. You can't be doing all these things, just one person in his lifetime doing all this. So I'm super happy that we have Mr. Jarre as a headliner for StarMus VII Earth. He has also done lots of projects to support environment for humanity. He has been an ambassador, UNESCO ambassador of peace, and you can read biography of Jean-Michel Jarre. It's so impressive. It's so impressive. And one thing I have to say, I feel really honored to sit next to him and with Michel Mayor. It's one of the really unique things that at StarMus, you will never see a press conference like this in the world, any part of a planet, where you sit down with the top scientists and top artists. We have a filmmaker, we have musician, we have a cybersecurity expert, we have scientists, science communicators. This only happens at StarMus. That's the only event where you have these diverse, amazing, with press conference with Brian Eno, with Hans Zimmer, and then Tyson, and then these, and astronauts and so on. So this is super diverse and very important, very powerful. There's a lot of energy, a lot of meaning in this press conference. It's not just a press conference with us sitting. The press conference has a philosophy, it has a meaning, it has a goal. It shows what we are doing, why are we doing this, and what is the next step. So that's about Mr. Jean-Michel Jarre. And yeah, I'm sure we will have something very interesting, very unique for StarMus Slovakia. Because as I said, StarMus is getting better and better. Now, as Anton said, that we have to now compete with StarMus Armenia. So it has to be better than StarMus Armenia, which is a serious challenge, I have to say. But it's good. We like challenges. We like challenges. We want to be creative. We want to do something extraordinary, something unique, something very different, something that people will say, wow, wow, again. again and again. So yes, this again should happen also with Slovakia. We have to do something extraordinary to support climate science, to support environment, and to see and to bring finally the problems that humanity is facing to general public. Because as you know, we have so many political conferences going on dealing with climate change, environment, and so on. But I was counting there has never been anything talking to general public. So it's really the first time we are doing a festival dedicated to the environment net with general public, with the top climate scientists and top AI experts, and that has never been done. But this should have been done many, many, many times. So we are not going to look for professionals or media and politicians, but they're just the best experts talking to general public. So that's what will happen at StarMus VII.
Thank you, Dr. Israelian. Since his name was mentioned at least a dozen times, I'm left with nothing else than mention it again. Jean-Michel Jarre, if you may say a few words as well.
Thank you. So I don't believe what he's saying. This is his charm also. I would like to start by telling you a story about the way we met together. I was touring and I was playing at the Royal Albert Hall in London a few years ago. And after the concert, one guy came into my room backstage and said, there are two astrophysicists. They would like to talk to you. I say yes, and then two guys came in the room, and it was Brian May and Garrick. And I said, so the Queen has a new member, and Garrick, and actually it's when the idea of StarMus came along. These two guys had this fantastic idea to actually link the idea of astrophysics with music. And you know, astrophysics and music have a lot in common. The most important point is probably we are both worlds dealing with space and time. And this is probably one of the foundation and one of the first idea of the existence of StarMus. And then we started to talk together quite late that night about what StarMus could be. And the first idea was to do a concert with Queen and with Brian May and the rest of the band, including this new member, in Canaries Island, where Garrick is taking care of the observatory over there. And then it never happened, but then StarMus started. And I must say that if some of you saw the documentary did by Todd here, an amazing documentary showing what StarMus became. StarMus is, as Garrick was saying, and he's very humble, a major event for us and for the generation to come, with the most brilliant scientists beyond astrophysics, and also lots of different brilliant, probably amongst the brilliant musicians and artists of the planet. And you know, this year, the StarMus this year is actually evolving. It started by being focused mainly on astrophysics, and now, as we understand, I mean, StarMus is covering lots of different topics. And the idea of focusing for this 7th edition to the Earth, saying with very good idea that Garrick was carrying with Brian and the rest of the board, to say that by the end of the day, to understand space better, we should also understand our own planet better. And our planet is specific because it's one of the rare planets of our knowledge, having oxygen. And this is also one of the reasons why I'm so involved in this new session, because of the presence of oxygen. And having said that, I think that also doing such an event in Bratislava is very important to also celebrate European technology also and European science. The fact that with the evolving of AI, the evolving of technology, we as Europeans, we have also to create an alternative between the US and Asia. And I think we have a voice, we have our own vision, and this vision has to be shared also through all over the planet. And I think it's also something I'm quite attached to it, and talking with Garrick, Israelian, about all this. I think it's very important that suddenly giving a spotlight to such a country like Slovakia, I mean, also having so many fantastic musicians, fantastic artists, fantastic scientists also. So it's not neutral, it's not a choice by coincidence. It has for me and for I think all of us a real meaning. I've been in this country and in this town a few times. I played here, so I'm very, very excited to be part of this new edition, and I think it's going to be something that we have to compete with Armenia. And this gentleman here, the head of ESET, said, "Okay, we have not to do as well. We should do 200% more." So of course, he gave me and he gave us, all of us, pressure even now. So I really wish good luck to this new edition, and believe me that I will be totally involved and committed to make this edition as special as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Jarre.
I will only add one more thing. I forgot to mention that we asked Jean-Michel also to give a keynote lecture about music and technology, because that's really something that he has been doing for all the years. So how technology is helping to get a next step in music. There's a lot of discussion about AI, writing music, all those topics. So the best person who can tell you what is the future is Jean-Michel Jarre. So we asked him also to give a keynote speech at StarMus about music and technology. So
I would just to add one thing before giving the floor to all our other friends. I won't touch even what Garrick just said, but just one thing. Art and science have so much in common. The fact that and especially probably in Europe, we had the tendency for too long to separate tech and culture. I mean, we should never forget that technology is dictating styles. It's because we invented the violin that Vivaldi did the music he did. Because we invented the synthesizer that people like me or some others are creating the music we do. And technology is actually bringing us tools to actually express timeless human emotions in phase with the society in which we are living in. And I think it's very important to understand and not to be scared about the future and be scared about innovation. I mean, it's probably in the human DNA to think that yesterday was better and tomorrow is going to be worse. If it was the case, we won't be here to discuss about the future. We should be excited by the future. We should be realistic. We should be pragmatic, and of course, the emergence of AI, for instance, is going to be is going to create a huge change and a huge disruption. But I think for artists and for scientists, it's a fantastic opportunity, and for human beings, it's a fantastic opportunity also. And I would be very happy to exchange all these ideas during the next StarMus edition.
Thank you. We will be looking forward.